Out of 70 total characters in Honkai Star Rail, only 22 are 4-star, and some paths don't have any 4 stars associated with them at all, like Remembrance. But I want to see just how far I can get using only these 4-star characters. What we're looking at here is actually my main account, so you can see I have all of the 4 stars, but there are some 5 stars I don't have. I am a free-to-play player, so there are a lot that I don't have. But I do have all the 4 stars, so I'm using it as an example to show what characters we'll be able to use on this account. We have to start at the beginning, which is the Herta Space Station, where we get to play as Kafka, which presents us with our first issue because Kafka is a 5-star character. A lot of parts of the tutorial actually require you to use 5-star characters, including Silverwolf and Himiko and the Trailblazer. And it'll have these moments like here where you must use basic attacks, and sometimes it even prompts you to use their skills. There's really no way around this, unfortunately, so I came up with a few rules for when 5 stars are forced onto the team. Rule 1. The 5-star character can only use their basic attack. No skills and no ultimates, unless the game will refuse to progress without it. Rule 2. If the 5-star character is the Trailblazer, then they cannot have any relics equipped. Rule 3, if a 5-star is forced to be used on a major battle, like Cocolia, as we'll see later, the battle must be redone right afterwards without the 5-star on the team for it to count as having been passed. With the basic rules out of the way, that just means we have to get through the tutorial trying our best to use only 4 stars. But first, we have to pick our Trailblazer. Since I play as Stell on my main, I decided to switch things up and choose Kalis for this run. Creatively, I decided to name him Kalis. Next, after ruining our opportunity to kiss Dan Heng, March 7th ends up being the very first 4-star to join our team. At this point, my first instinct was to try to kick Kalis off of the team, but we still don't have team lineup even unlocked, so he's staying for now. After struggling through some normal speed battles for a little bit, the slow battle is killing me. We end up getting Dan Heng as the next 4-star to join our team, as well as the team lineup option where we can finally try to take Kalis off the team. We are adding Dan Heng.
Tread carefully.
And we are removing Kalis. Awesome. Take note of the fact that the only people on my team in this moment are March 7th and Dan Heng, and we can even see on the right that that is the case. But as soon as I enter battle, Kalis is somehow on the team. Why is Kalis on the team? I literally took him off. Did I not take him off? What the heck? Did I not literally just take him off? How did this happen? After questioning my sanity for a bit, I went back and removed Kalis for a second time from the team, so that way for at least some of the tutorial we could do 4 stars only. The rest of the Herta Space Station tutorial went pretty uneventfully. We unlocked light cones, 2x speed, most of the features of the game, and only had a few times where the game got confused about the fact that we did not have Kalis on the team, like here when it prompts me to use March 7th skill on Kalis when he is not in the party. Just when I thought we were free from having 5 stars forced onto the team, we got Himiko added and realized quickly we could not take her off. No! No! Get out! My mood quickly improves though because we finally unlock the gambling portion of this gacha game where we can finally receive our 3rd 4-star, almost making a full team, in the form of Asta. While still on the space station, we run into our first elite enemy. Do you guys think we can take him?
This will strengthen our position.
Oh. 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 Well, okay. Okay, alright. Which did not go very well. We'll come back to that. After checking the mail, I see that we get a free copy of Serval, marking our 4th member and making a full team of 4 stars only. Eventually we get to the fight with the Doomsday Beast where we must use Himiko, but she is only using her basic attacks. One issue with Himiko is that her follow-up attacks happen automatically, so there's no way to prevent her from providing a decent amount of damage to the team. At this point in the run, I had not yet come up with the idea that if I had to use a 5-star against a bigger enemy, that I would redo it, so unfortunately this particular boss never gets redone. But after completing this boss, we were able to move on to get noticed by Nanook and to meet my personal favorite character of the game, well, Yang.
You're okay now. Let's talk somewhere else.
After letting my heart recover from meeting him for the first time all over again, it's time to meet Mini Herta and finally remove Himiko from our team. At this point, we are finally able to have a full 4-star squad, which is Serval, March 7th, Dan Heng, and Asta, which is not a bad set of 4 for the beginning of the game. Then, because we had some warps built up, I decided to do a discounted 10 pull on the standard banner. At this point, I was really hoping for some kind of healer to be on the team because March's shields just were not doing enough. So hoping for either a Lynx or a Natasha, and in my wildest dreams, a Gallagher. I then proceeded to get nothing useful. Since this light cone pulled aggro, it wasn't going to be a very good card for March, our only preservation unit, so we had to just kind of ignore this pull altogether, but luckily I could do one more. This pull did yield us another 4-star character to add to our collection, and I could see Arlen being a really good damage dealing unit at some points during the game, but at this point I already had a fair amount of damage dealing units and was looking more for Harmony or Abundance 4-star characters to help round out our teams. Now that we were completely done with the tutorial, it was time to grind for even more Jade so we could try to make a couple warps on the limited banner while it was still available. A pretty decent and reliable way to get Jades throughout the game is the simulated universe, so I decided to head there next to farm some Jades as well as to get a copy of Mini Herta and her Eidolons. I didn't realize Kalis was back on the team until after the first battle, so after the first battle I remove him so that way it's just our 4 stars as it was meant to be. Alright, we're gonna go into battle, and Kalis is not there. Thank God. Luckily this time, the simulated universe did not force Kalis back onto our team at any point, so we were able to complete it with just Dan Heng and March 7th. It wasn't without its glitches though, because I did find this typo after the battle. When characters gain, that grammar is not right. When characters, apostrophe? The next biggest hurdle for us to accomplish was defeating this boss at the end of the simulated universe with only our 2 4-star units. I edited down this battle a lot because it ended up taking forever to take them down, but between spamming March 7's shields and their ultimates over and over, we were eventually able to whittle it down. With this battle done though, we've completed the simulated universe and we're able to finally get a free copy of Mini Herta. And I'm pretty excited to add her to the team because she's somebody who it's easy to get a lot of Eidolons for by completing the simulated universe, plus she's a really good sub DPS even later in the game. For now though, I'm hoping she'll add a little bit of variety to our current team comp. That being said though, we still don't have any good healers, so I'm back to the grind trying to find as many warps and as many Jades as possible so we can try and wish for a healer. During this process, I get reminded that we do get Natasha for free by doing the Belobog quest, so we'll get her along the way, which means we won't be without a healer forever, but I still would rather get Gallagher if possible since he's such a good damage dealing unit, so I'm going to continue to wish and hope for the best in the meantime. The only other Abundance 4-star character is Lynx, so I wouldn't be too mad if we got her either, so I decided to go ahead and do a discounted 10 pull, but proceed to get the exact same light cone that I do not plan to use at all. So I once again had to kind of pretend like that pull didn't even happen. While trying to move forward with the main quest, we run into Dan Heng while I'm Dan Heng. So I proceed to get really distracted by trying to get the perfect photo to capitalize on this opportunity. I think I can think. Is it one of my idols that I'm thinking? Hey, we should face each other. Okay, let's try it now. Ready? Yeah. When I see that March 7th is also out in the world, I decide I need to get a matching photo. And this actually sort of begins a trend of me trying to get these commemorative photos with the 4 stars as we see them out in the world to commemorate that they've been added to our collection.
So, have you thought?
Thus, we embark on the Express, join the Nameless, and leave the tutorial behind.
Time to get on.
Unlocking the Interastral Guide means unlocking a ton of opportunity for XP, materials, jades, and the Strategic Training Guide. For some reason, I was determined to do all of the strategic trainings in one go, so I did all 13 trainings back to back to back to back times 13. Luckily, most of the battles didn't take too long, and it meant a lot of jades and resources and XP to collect. Gosh, that was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. After collecting all of the materials in the book that we've gotten so far, as well as the jades from various achievements that we got during the strategic trainings, we have enough jades to actually get a 10 pull on the limited time banner. A light cone. Thanks. Okay, that actually might be good. That actually could... Oh! 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 After such bad luck with my previous pulls, the back-to-back 4-star really threw me for a loop. With the addition of Arlen, Mini Herta, and Shui now to my 4-star collection, I decided to go back through my 4-stars to reevaluate who all I want on my main squad. I ended up sticking with Serval, March 7th, Danheng, and Asta for now, but I definitely see myself developing Mini Herta in the near future. I got back on track to do the main quest, but not before passing just a little bit of judgment on Danheng. Damn, Danheng, you really live like this? At least make your bed. It's one blanket. After judging Danheng pretty harshly, I collect the level rewards from Pom Pom. This is where I remember just how much the game throws at you at the very beginning as far as resources, so we're just collecting everything while it's still available. The next game function we unlock is the Friends menu, where we immediately see somebody who claims that Genshin is better and they're willing to fight over it, which it's really just a very different game, but crazy thing to say on your Honkai Star Rail account. Before taking off to the next destination, we get a little bit of lore dump from March 7th about how she joined the Express, and then we get on our way. I really relate to March 7th here. I think I would do the same thing if I were actually on the Express, because this is me whenever I have to take a bus and I'm trying to look cooler than everybody else by being able to use my core strength to not fall down. Our first stop is Urilo 6, which to be honest, I had completely forgotten about for some reason, despite remembering Natasha earlier. I had been kind of expecting to hit the Xianzhou at this point, so had to regroup a little bit, but was back on track with doing all of the Bellabong quest once I remembered that that's where we were supposed to be.
I'd like to entrust this trailblazing expedition to...
So it's still not our turn.
I then take a detour from the main plot to do the adventure mission for the simulated universe. This is simply because I felt like having more Eidolons for Mini Herta would be really helpful and might make me actually put her on the team. I also knew that coming back to this later could be really annoying. We're still in the beta version of the simulated universe, meaning that it's not the simulated universe as we will come to know it in the future, which means that Kalis is still on the team and we're using these trial versions of Danheng and March 7th, which means we can't use the full 4-star team that we've already kind of put together. Luckily, after the first 2 battles, we're able to download Mini Herta onto the team, which gives us one more 4-star that is usable for at least this run of the simulated universe. Because we weren't able to level up any of these characters or really build them in any way since they're trial characters, I was a little bit nervous about this final boss, but it went more smoothly than I expected and wasn't actually that difficult, so pretty easy to move on to the next thing. Completing the Simulated Universe Beta adventure mission means that we've made it to the next level of the book, which includes getting a couple of warps. The materials that we collect here give us enough to do another discounted 10 pull on the standard banner, where we get a Serval Eidolon, which I'm really happy about because this means that her basic attack will do AoE damage, which can save us a couple of skill points here and there on a team where skill points are hard to come by right now. This pull is where I decided to end my second day on the 4-star only account. Before I logged off for the day, I decided to level everybody up to 20, as well as get light cones up to 20 and upgrade any traces that I could. So I'm running through all of that right now so you can see the fruits of my labor. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident about this 4-star only account being able to do pretty well against most enemies that we're going to come across. Especially as we get further and we're able to get more Eidolons and just generally level these characters and get them good relics. So I hope you stay tuned to see how we do against the challenge of Cocolia.